Welcome to Quick Rip. Big B here with ya. Hope you're doing well out there, fight fans. Hey, we had BKFC 45 go down on Friday night, June 23rd. Headlining the event was Luis Palomino as he put his lightweight title on the line against James Lights Out Lilley. BKFC 45 went down in Hollywood, Florida. Yeah, it seems like that's basically the second home for the Squared Circle as they continue to go back to Hollywood, Florida, and continue to have success there. So obviously, why would you not go back? Now I am going to run down the entire card here. I'm going to start with the main event, the lightweight title bout. Luis Palomino was 8-0 going into this one. James Lilley 8-0-1. So we had two undefeated fighters battling it out for the lightweight strap. Now, just a quick side note here on Palomino's walkout. Another amazing one. He always does a good job, always unique. I just love it. I love when these fighters get creative with their walkouts and do something different, right? And Palomino always does. Now, unfortunately for the fans watching on the app and the fans in attendance, Palomino's walkout was basically the highlight of that fight. Early on, we had great movement from Palomino. He was playing very hard to hit. Lilley remained patient, picked his shots, but the boos began in round three. A lot of dancing with very little fighting. Now, the fourth round began with a bang, but ended with boos once again from the bloodthirsty Hollywood crowd. It was a close scrap, fairly close scrap going into the fifth and final, where honestly not a lot happened. In the end, Luis Palomino retains his lightweight strap. I'm going to be completely honest. I found that it was probably the most boring fight of the evening on the card. Which was unfortunate. I really thought this one was going to be fireworks, but in the end, Palomino essentially said he wanted to play it safe because he didn't want his only loss to be basically, he called James Lilley a nobody, like a no-name, nobody knows who he is kind of deal, and he didn't want his only loss to be against someone like that. I don't know. It sounds like a fucking excuse to me, if you want me to be brutally honest. Whatever. I don't know. I just don't even know what to say other than whatever. Palomino, post-fight interview, ended up calling out immediately Eddie Alvarez, who was in attendance, sitting ringside there, which would make for an interesting bout. Now, is Eddie Alvarez interested in Palomino? Maybe not so much for the name, but there would be a belt on the line, right? So that is some incentive for Alvarez to possibly go for that. I don't know though. Eddie Alvarez, at this point of his career, I think he's more looking for the bigger names. And then Luis Palomino went on to essentially call out anybody who ever fought in the UFC. It seemed like any big name is what Palomino was looking for, and then he claims he won't be a boring fight and he won't be scared to lose or something. I don't know. It was fucking weird, man. And of course, all the blame can't go on Palomino as well. James Lilley looked. I don't really know what the word is. Gun shy, maybe. I don't know. He didn't look himself. That's for sure. And we see that often when some of these fighters get the big chance at their first title shot. It's a little overwhelming sometimes, and maybe that's what James Lilley was going through. I don't know. A disappointing main event, but hey, Palomino still undefeated, 9-0. I don't know. Is anybody ever going to beat this guy? In the co-main event at BKFC 45, we had a light heavyweight bout between Jake Bostwick, who was two wins, two losses, and one draw going into this one. Now, he was facing Eric Lozano, who was 1-1 heading into this bout. It is worth noting that Eric Lozano came in 6 pounds heavy, which is not good. 6 pounds is that's a lot. Not sure what happened with Lozano with that weight cut, but uh, one has to wonder what kind of shape he was in heading into this scrap. Now, Bostwick obviously appeared to hold the speed advantage for the majority of the fight. But you know what? There was zero fucking quit in Lozano. My fists hurt just watching this one. The fists of Bostwick, you could just see that, man, my fists were just aching. Just watching that one. He just fucking, he is not shy to fucking throw a fastball that Jake Bostwick. That's for sure. He gives zero fucks for his hands. Uh, Now, as mentioned, I don't know what the fuck was up with Lozano. 6 pounds overweight. He kind of seemed a little bit possibly out of shape. Um, I don't know. In the end, Bostwick takes the unanimous decision in. It was an okay scrap, but compared to the rest of the card, now the co-main and the main event were the only two scraps on the entire card that went the distance. So that doesn't help, right? When you've got a ton of cards or a ton of bouts before you that are all finishes, all exciting, and then you get two not so exciting matches that go to the judges. It kind of puts a damper on the end of the night, but don't let that fool you because there was some incredible action at BKFC 45. Now, speaking of some incredible action at BKFC 45, we had a feature bout between Howard Davis, who was 3-1-1 heading into this one. He was taking on Eduardo Peralta, who was 0-1 going into this scrap. Now, this was a lightweight bout. Pardon me. Not a lot to say here. Davis cruises to victory. In the end, it was a left hand to what appeared to be Peralta's eyeball that put him down, and he was not getting back up. First round TKO for Howard H.D. Davis. He moves to 4-1-1 and continues to impress. And just before that, we had a featherweight scrap between Brian Duran, who was 3-0. He was taking on Gilberto Aguilar, who was 0-3. Intense. Sorry, my cat's hopped up on me out of nowhere here. It was an intense first round from Duran. I thought it was over. Aguilar stayed in the game somehow. But Brian Duran does. Okay, we're going to have to get you down. Brian Duran does get the TKO victory. Aguilar could not make it to start the fourth round. Now it was unclear whether it was the fighter himself that couldn't go, or if the corner said no, you're not going back out there. Either way, he never stepped up to the line for the fourth round. So interesting stuff here because that moves Brian Duran to 4-0 in BKFC, which is an incredible record. Remember that name because he's coming with fire. We also had a welterweight scrap between Rene Rodriguez, who was 4-2. He was taking on James Dennis, who was 1-1. And you know what, folks? James Dennis gets the upset here with a first round KO. What a performance. Both men hit the canvas. Essentially, Dennis got up and Rodriguez, not so much. It kind of looked like a slip from Rodriguez at first until he tried to get up and he was on wobbly legs. That was the end. A big upset. So James Dennis moves to 2-1 in BKFC. Gets on the proper side of 500 there. I don't know, man. That one was a shock to me. I thought Rene Rodriguez had this one in the bag. Honestly, I underestimated James Dennis. and that's not something I'll do again. And in a bantamweight matchup, we had Cutman Perez, who was 2-0. He was taking on Ryan Carroll, 0-1. Now, Cutman Perez, there's no other way to describe this one. He ran right through Carroll. 4 or 5 knockdowns by before Carroll couldn't continue. First round knockout for Cutman, remains undefeated, moves to 3-0, and it sounds like the fight. What is that guy's name? Ryan. I can't remember it all at this moment. The influencer, the one that he slapped at the weigh-ins there on Thursday. That fight's a go-ahead. They are going to face each other coming up. I have to double check the date. Sorry, guys, it's slipping my mind here. But those two are scheduled to fight. It is official. Both have signed. They were just waiting to see if G got the victory here, which he did impressively. There was no fucking doubt. So that one's going to have a lot of heat on Perez's next fight. Absolute bad blood going there already, and we're still a little ways away. In another bantamweight scrap at BKFC 45, we saw Alberto Blas, 1-0. He was facing Robert Armos, who was 1-1. Alberto Blas went absolutely crazy with the shots. Honestly, it looked like he was fucking in a hockey fight. You know how they just grab him, just boom, boom, boom. He was just feeding the shots. It was fucking insane. I was screaming, I was yelling. I absolutely loved it. Awesome stuff by Alberto as he moves to 2-0. First round knockout, I believe it was 43 seconds in. I mean, it was quick. Made a fucking statement. Remains undefeated. And opening up the main card at BKFC 45 in Hollywood, Florida, we had Steve Townsell, who was 3-2. He was facing Dylan Weinmiller, who was 1-1. That was a cruiserweight scrap. Weinmiller finishes Townsell with a counter right, second round knockout, moves to 2-1 in bare knuckle. That one was a bit of an upset as well there. I think a lot of people thought Townsell was going to take this one. Not fucking so much. Awesome stuff by Dylan Weinmiller. And actually we had 3 fights go down in the Freeview, which is essentially the prelims before the main card here. We had a cruiserweight scrap between Mike Lee and Drew Nolan. Both men were making their bare knuckle debut here. And you know what? Lee was miles ahead of his competition in this one. He stayed calm, landed his shots, and gets the first round TKO. The Freeviews also saw a bantamweight scrap between Chris Garcia, who was 1-0. He was facing Robert Madrid, who was making his debut. Not a lot really to say about this one. I got distracted. Somebody started talking to me, and I missed a decent part of it, unfortunately. But you know what? It was a third round TKO by Chris Garcia. Moves to 2-0, undefeated. There's a lot of fucking undefeated fighters right now in that 2-0, 3-0 range. It's incredible. And the final scrap in the Freeview at BKFC 45 was a heavyweight bout between Joseph White and Leonardo Perdomo. Both men were making their debuts there as well. And Joseph White was made an example of, Leonardo Perdomo wins by first round KO. Awesome stuff. Moves to 1-0, and I'm excited to see what's next for him. This heavyweight division. It's nice to see this fresh talent being added. I mean, it's awesome to have veterans like Big Ben signed and Arnold Adams and used to be Alan Belcher. But to see this fresh talent coming up, making debuts in the heavyweight division, and making statements like that. I'm liking what I see. And that's it, folks. That was BKFC 45 in a nutshell. Some pretty good shit. I mean, you got to think 9 of 11 fights ended with a finish, so that's pretty fucking good. It's just unfortunate that the two biggest fights didn't quite deliver, and that's just my opinion. But I can guarantee you the crowd there in Miami, Florida, agrees with me on that opinion. Anyway, thanks for joining me here on Quick Rip, the Bowls, Beers, and Brawls channel. Hey, if you like the content, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Be sure you're subscribed. It sure helps out the channel, and it makes me smile. Till next time, everybody, take care and peace.